Live from the KDAL studios at Lake and Superior Street in downtown Duluth, it's Stars Over the Prairie with 8-time Minnesota Music Award winner Paul Metsa, featuring cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. Check out previous show podcasts at northlandnewsradio.com. Call or text Paul at 218-722-0839 or email paul@paulmetsa.com. Now, the other great folk singer from Minnesota's Mesabi Iron Range. Here's Paul Metsa.
And I wish I could see stars over the
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stars Over the Prairie. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We've got a great show for you today. Of course, we broadcast in the Studio 238 Somersaults down the hill from Bob Dylan's childhood home, just a stone's throw away from Bob Dylan's way. We look out the studio window and we see the great unsalted sea as we broadcast from the Zenith City by the unsalted sea, the air-conditioned city, Duluth, Minnesota. We have a couple of great guests on today. Speaking of Duluth, we have a fellow by the name of Paul Lundgren, who a friend of mine sent me an article a few weeks ago that Paul wrote about the legendary Buffalo Bill and his ties to Duluth, Minnesota. Once I got to find out a little bit more about Paul, I realized that he was the prime mover behind a great blog called Perfect Duluth Day and is also the editor of a great new magazine, a biannual called Unsalted, put out along with the Duluth Depot and more. So we're going to hear about that, Buffalo Bill. And then after that, a really great Twin Cities rock and roller, songwriter, guitar player, educator, and a really cool cat named Adam Levy is in the middle of a 2-night stand up in Silver Bay, Minnesota as part of their Music in the Park. So we've got a great chat coming up with him. We're going to be listening to a little bit of Adam Levy's music. For those of you that got down to Minneapolis from 95 on, you might have heard his band, the Honey Dogs, a great roots rock and outfit. He's got a new band now called Turn, 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 which is kind of a 3-part singing ensemble. Adam's playing guitar. I think they got a little backing group up there in Silver Bay. So Adam's a great guy. He's got a lot to say. He actually, among the many things this man does, he also spent some time teaching songwriting in prison, where he met my engineer, Chris Allen, who was doing some time on an unrelated chart. Well, no,
they said the donut was paid for.
Chris, how's your week been?
It's been a different week, kind of a long week, because I've been working all my different jobs. But today I will be up in 2 harbors.
Couple of harbors, as we call it up on the
couple of
radio.
harbors, or harbor, as Tracy Lundgren likes to call
it. I like it.
I'll be up there at Castle Danger. They're celebrating their 15th anniversary, and they're throwing a big party and giving away an ATV, so I'll be up there live.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are a man on the move.
That's right.
Now, my personal achievements this week, I finally put in my last flower in my garden. I got kind of a late start. I started about in mid-June, although it was kind of a cold month. My sister Kathy said, "It's okay, Paul. We know you're a beginner gardener. It was a little cold, and it's going to be a warm fall." So I'm feeling good. I was going up to Home Depot because they have a lot of plants on half price now.
Okay.
So I was going and I ran into a couple of friends of mine. One guy works part-time over at River City Records in Lincoln Park, and his lovely wife. And he goes, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm buying some half-price annuals because, next year when they come up, I will have a good deal on them." Because I'm thinking, beginner gardener Paul, annuals come up annually.
Annually.
I was wrong.
It's not the case.
I was wrong. You got to get the perennials.
Yes.
That's what I found out. So I did. The garden's looking good. We celebrated the 4th year of my new house, living into Lincoln, when I moved into Lincoln Park in July of 2022. We were a month out, but I got my friends good friends of mine, one Andy from Great Lakes Candy, his lovely wife Chelsea helped me move in, and of course the lovely Hallie. They've been holding my hand the whole way, introducing me to the great city of Duluth, Minnesota. And a man that knows a little bit about that city is with me today. Paul Lundgren, thanks so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Now, you just got back. You were over in Bucharest?
Budapest.
Budapest. And tell us a little bit about the trip before we get into Buffalo Bill, the Perfect Duluth Day, and the great new biannual magazine, Unsalted.
Yeah. Well, it was a cruise on the Danube River, so we were in Budapest and Prague and a small town in Austria that I'll never be able to pronounce, and Vienna, and we had a fantastic time. Maybe the most confounding part of it for me, whether I'm in a foreign country or in the United States of America, is going to a hotel and learning that all of the things that I thought were simple and understandable in life are no longer true. Like the simple process of turning on the lights,
right,
is suddenly highly complicated and involves this, series of, well, if you push this one, then that'll enable you to turn this one on. And I don't know who decided that the light switch for the bathroom shouldn't be inside the bathroom, but I thought that was settled long ago.
It was Satan decided that.
Like, who had a meeting and was just, too convenient to have it. Let's put it outside so that it can be confused with other lights. Because what you want to do is get up at 3 a.m. to pee and then turn all of the lights in the room on and wake your wife up. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, no, I understand it. And plus the fact that I imagine there might have been a little bit of language difficulty, or did you run into a lot of people that did speak English over there?
Never had a language problem at all. As soon as someone said, "Hooten da bootel boot," I would say English, and they would say, "Oh, would you like coffee?"
Beautiful. Are you going to go back at some point?
Not anytime soon.
Right.
But yeah, there were definitely, we got to hit some of these cities for brief periods of time, and so you always feel like you don't have enough time there to really see all of the things that you want to see.
What was the? It's been about a year and a half since I've flown anywhere. How was it getting through the airports here in the good old USA in terms of security? Was there any ICE agents, National Guard guys standing around?
I didn't think it didn't feel any different than normal.
Good.
Yeah, pretty smooth. I mean, we had flights rescheduled, so that was lots of fun. But yeah.
When I moved to Minneapolis in the late 70s, one of the things we used to do, we would drive out to the airport and we'd get our shoes shined. There's a guy named Zeno out there that had, he ran the shoe shine operation. They had one of the best Bloody Marys in the city, and we'd watch planes take off and people come and go. And it was so much fun. And it was a great, for the cost of a shoe shine and a Bloody Mary, you had 3 hours of entertainment. And, but now it's just, everything is just so, secure and foreboding. And of course the other thing I missed back in the day, when you could go to the back of the plane and light up a Marlboro Red. You remember those days, Chris?
I remember those days.
Yeah. Were you a smoker, Paul?
No.
Yeah. You look like a healthy. You probably.
But they had a section. You didn't just light it up anywhere in the plane. There was a section. There was a smoking section in the plane, which I never understood because everybody's in the same plane.
Have you? Well, then they've developed. Now I've really cut down on my smoking when I travel, but they've got now they're not cubicles. They're about about the size of the studio. Where there's some airports have smoking rooms where you can go in there and have 15 people just beating down cigarette after cigarette, and you walk out looking like that old Seinfeld episode when Kramer went to get the tobacco endorsement, and you get the bags under your eyes, and you're dragging yourself out, not being able to breathe very well. But that is way off topic.
Hey, let me.
Go ahead.
While we're on the topic of smoking, I should mention. I don't know if either of you have been to the Kitchen, which is a little breakfast joint in Superior.
Yes.
But this is going back like 15 years now when you could smoke in restaurants. If you went to the kitchen and you were looking for the no smoking section, that was one table. That was the non-smoking section was one table.
And then they had
and
smoking.
Everyone smoked around you.
Smoking section, chain smoking section, and never stop smoking section.
I remember I was just telling this story to a friend of mine. There was the great, it's still there, Milda's Cafe in North Minneapolis on Glenwood Avenue. And Milda was a legendary Finnish restaurateur. And I had never been there. They had the great pasties every Friday. This Iron Range Finn never went there. Felt bad that I didn't. Big article in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Milda's retiring. It was December, so I went to see Milda. I had to pay my respects, so I went there. Apologized for never going there for the 35 years I lived in Minneapolis. I knew about Milda's. She was working the counter at 85. She looked great. And I said, Milda, I came to pay my respects for your wonderful restaurant and your 40 years in service. I said, I'm a Finlander from the Iron Range. She said, what are you doing down here? Selling Christmas trees? So anyway, I started, that was the beginning of my monthly trips. They had the greatest breakfast. And so I went there about a month later. Milda had since retired. And I was getting get my eggs, and the waitress said, would you like some hot sauce? I go, no. I'm American Finn. I said, I don't do hot sauce. And she said, oh, we have Finnish hot sauce. I said, really? And she pointed to the bottle of ketchup. This humor's not going over well with you two guys this morning, is it? There we go. Thank you. You're a little late on that, by the way.
Well, you don't pay your drummer very well.
I do, as a matter of fact. Got a big gig next week, August 22nd, with the all-new Paul Metsa Group for the 20th anniversary of Moe's American Grill in Mounds View. If you're down there, we're playing 4 to 7 o'clock. Anyway, Paul, let's talk. You're a Duluth boy, right?
Yes, born here.
And what high school did you graduate from?
Denfeld.
So you still in the, I'm in Lincoln Park. You still live in the neighborhood?
Yeah, I'm as far west as you can get in West Duluth.
Okay.
So very near the zoo.
Is that Spirit Valley?
Not technically. Spirit Valley is sort of a sub-neighborhood of West Duluth, so that's just the shopping area around Wusso's.
Okay. Now, when did you start writing?
Elementary school.
Okay.
And I mean, and I don't mean that as a joke, like when I learned how to write. But,
yeah.
Probably 6th grade passing notebooks back and forth was the beginning of a creative writing process.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when I graduated college, one of the first jobs that was available was news editor at the Budgeteer Press, and I applied for that job and did not get it. But a month later, I called back and talked to the manager. Just said, if anything else comes up, let me know. And then he called the next day and said the editor that they had hired took a job somewhere else. Could I start tomorrow?
Wow.
And I was off and running.
So, in what year was that, Paul?
1996.
Okay. And so tell the people there what the Budgeteer Press was exactly.
That was a weekly paper in Duluth, founded in, if I get this correct, that would be amazing, let's say 1932. That feels good. I want to say 1932. And probably continued on until 2014 or something, I'm guessing. So it eventually got acquired by the Duluth News-Tribune, and it turned into, at that time, it became basically just an advertising insert in the News-Tribune before they killed it off completely. But it started as a shopper, and it was a family-owned newspaper that came out weekly. Circulation was 50,000, in the 1990s, because it went free to every door in Duluth, Proctor, Herman.
Yeah. So besides ads for businesses, what types of articles were you able to write? Did you have freedom doing that?
Yeah. I had to. I was basically at that time there weren't really writers, like they started that shortly after the paper expanded, and so there were multiple reporters. But when I was there, it was basically me, the executive editor, who was the son of the founder, Dick Palmer, and so we wrote everything between the two of us. With the exception of, I think Howie Hansen had a column back then. He did, for sure.
Okay.
There may have been a couple other recurring features that I'm not remembering, but yeah.
So, small weekly newspaper. So besides writing, what were your other tasks to get the paper out every week? Did you have to do proofreading, typesetting, any of that stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm just old enough to say that when I started there, we were still doing layout where you would run a piece of paper through a glue machine,
right,
and then lay out the paper by gluing articles to the page.
Wow, I love it.
And that continued into 1997. So, that was it was strange to graduate college, go into a career, and feel a little bit like you're doing a kindergarten art project to lay out a newspaper. But yeah.
Now, where did you go to college?
University of Wisconsin Superior.
Okay. UWS?
Yeah.
How many folks have we had on this show? We've had musicians, actors, and other sorts of cool and creative people that all graduated from the University of Wisconsin Superior, along with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I graduated the year he got the honorary doctorate.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, he was, largely overshadowed the commencement speaker.
What? Yeah. What is it about the UWS that turns out? My nephew Jacob Metsa went there 20-some years ago, and now he's a big shot in New York City, working in film and TV as a location designer and a set builder and the rest. But what do you think makes the University of Wisconsin Superior puts out so many creative people?
Yeah, it's probably the size of the college, which is similar to, the charm of Duluth also is the size of Duluth, that it's big enough that we can have all kinds of cool stuff, but small enough that you don't feel like you're invisible. And similar thing with UWS, I think. And then also, I think, if certain departments, they might have a moment where they hire a bunch of professors who really jive well together. And so some of the programs over there really, had eras where they excelled. And so, that's what drew me in, was the fine arts department there back in the 90s.
Very cool. So now, after the Duluth Budgeteer, what was your next move after that?
Well, it gets a little crazy, but I freelanced for many years, so I wrote kind of for everybody. But the big project that kind of happened in that era was the Ripsaw News, which was another weekly, a very different weekly than the Budgeteer. But
was that Tim and Brad Nelson? Did they have something to do with that?
Yes, it was. Initially, it was Brad Nelson and Cord Dada.
Okay.
And after maybe a year and a half or so, Cord sold his shares to Tim, and it was Brad and Tim were the partner owners.
Paul, I couldn't believe it when I used to. Now I do a lot of reading on the phone when I go to restaurants. But I would come up here when I was playing. I played up here about every 6 weeks, 2 or 3 months, whatever it was. Back in the day, played all over the Twin Ports. But I couldn't believe how many weekly or monthly cool little zines and little newspapers and things there were, man. I could go sit at a restaurant. I used to love Jim's Cafe. And I could put, I'd have the Duluth News Tribune, the Budgeteer, and Ripsaw. But you could go where they would let, the businesses that would let the people that ran these zines and magazines and newsletters, put them in their entryway. My God, I couldn't believe the plethora of writing there was going on up here.
Yeah.
Was I correct, or was I?
Yeah, there were quite a few, and some of them would come and go pretty fast. So, you might say there might have been 30 different publications in the late 1990s, early
Right,
2000s,
right.
but maybe only 8 of them were publishing at any one time.
Right.
And yeah, it was, that was how things were then, and many of those are, not many, I guess, but a few of those are still around.
Now, tell us a little bit about Perfect Duluth Day. I get the newsletter online. When did that start?
2003.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of, it wasn't intended to be a spin-off of the Ripsaw, but I kind of think of it as a spin-off of the Ripsaw.
Okay. I love that chronology.
Many of the people involved were people who were involved with the Ripsaw. And so when the Ripsaw, I think in 2004, I want to say, no, it must have been 2003, switched to a magazine format. I think their thinking was, we'll be able to pack the more advertising into a single week, and it'll be a little less work, and maybe it'll be more financially manageable. But it lost a lot of its timeliness at that point. Like when you're doing a magazine, you've got there's a big lag between when you finish your work and when it's printed and put out.
We are going to hear more from our guest, Paul Lundgren, about Perfect Duluth Day. And then, of course, we are going to get the skinny on Buffalo Bill Cody in Duluth. But we got to hear from some people that keep Stars Over the Prairie on the air. And we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
I'm Zach, and I had Z LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. I was sick of wearing glasses. I've had glasses since 3rd grade. Dealing with the nuisance of glasses kind of reached that point of I just need to get LASIK. I was a little nervous, but knowing now what that process all entailed, I wouldn't have been nervous if I knew. Everybody's really nice here. Not a bad thing to say about anybody. Everybody's happy, and everybody here's nice. And I mean, it's day 1 post-op, and I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
Rocky Wall Entertainment presents Music in the Park in Silver Bay at City Center Park. These concerts have been rated as one of the best summer events on the North Shore, and it's free. See acts like the Belfast Cowboys, Lolo's Ghost, Jeff Dayton Band, Eric Kiskinen Band, Turn, 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 and the Scarlet Goodbye. Perfect entertainment for the family. Join Rocky Wall Entertainment and Silver Bay for the free Music in the Park series of concerts every Friday starting July 17th at City Center Park next to City Hall. This is an all-weather event. In the case of inclement weather, the concerts will be moved indoors to the Reunion Hall. This is the 6th year of bringing the best of Americana music to the North Country. Arrive early and pick up some dinner and beverages for your own picnic dinner. For more information, visit RockyWallEntertainment.org or see Rocky Wall Entertainment on Facebook.
The first name in news, the last word in talk. 610 KDAL, News Talk Sports.
You're invited to the Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, open for another season for all your candy pleasure. They're located on Scenic Highway 61, 10 miles north of Duluth in Knife River. They're 3rd and 4th generation candy makers using traditional copper kettles to make their caramels, fudge brittles, and chocolate-dipped hot air. When you visit Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, be sure and try their famous Nutty Ice Cream Bar. Tell them you heard it on Stars Over the Prairie. Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, located just 10 miles north of Duluth in Knife River.
You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with 8-time Minnesota Music Awards winner Paul Metsa on KDAL.
Welcome back to Stars Over the Prairie. This is Paul Metsa, your host. My guest is Paul Lundgren. And I want to remind you, if you are driving through Virginia, Minnesota, my hometown, and you want to stop for a cool beverage, a cocktail, or play a little pull tabs, go to Flamer's Bar on the corner of Chestnut Street and 2nd Avenue. Say hi to Gary and the gang. It's a great way, whether you're going up north or coming back from up north and you're going through the Queen City of the Iron Range, stop by Flamer's Bar at Chestnut Street and 2nd Avenue. Paul Lundgren, we were talking a little bit about, tell us a little bit more about exactly what Perfect Duluth Day is.
Yeah, well, so, before the break we were talking about its formation in 2002, right. And it was Scott Lunt, who people will recognize as Starfire, the founder of the Homegrown Music Festival. He and Barrett Chase, who were both involved in the Ripsaw newspaper, had this idea for Perfect Duluth Day, and that launched in 2003. I came on in about 2009, and we call ourselves Duluth's Duluthiest website, and I don't think anyone can dispute that. It's the way it's evolved at this time. It's half of it is an event calendar for Duluth, and half of it is features about the city. A lot of them are history related, and the Buffalo Bill piece, of course, is one of those history-related pieces where I had written an article in 2002, so 24 years ago now, for the Woman Today magazine, which was then called The Area Woman. Feels like we're doing a history of local media here.
Well, good. Well, we're all about that.
And that article was about Helen Cody, who was the little sister of Buffalo Bill. And so years later on Perfect Duluth Day, I republished that and started to look back at some of my notes and add some more details about Buffalo Bill's connection to Duluth.
For those of you that don't know Buffalo Bill Cody, it's been a while since you thought about him, he was born in 1846 in what became Iowa, a town down there. Over the course of his life, he would be a soldier, Army scout, rode the Pony Express, was a ranch hand, wagon train driver, a town developer, a bison hunter, fought the Indians, a fur trafficker, a gold prospector, and then a showman that I want to talk a little bit about. But so tell us now, Buffalo Bill, his sister, Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, I think when you look at all the things that Buffalo Bill did, showman is the thing that stands up above it all. And so he really was probably a legit character in the sense that he did all these things, but he was, I think, really good at making sure everybody knew that he did all these things and built it up into a huge traveling show across the country.
Oh, and he had dozens of, I was doing a little research on it several years ago. He had dozens. He had Native Americans and people dressed up as soldiers and trappers and put on like what people would envision happened in the Wild West. And they would have battles. And he had dozens of horses. And he took this whole show. Not only did they tour and ended up in Duluth, right in Lincoln Park near my humble home, but also took it to Europe. And Chris, you're a traveling musician over the years. I'm going, man, if Buffalo Bill can take 70 to 100 people, horses, Native Americans, cowboys and Indians, and the rest, I should be able to figure out how to take a trio down to Owatonna for a weekend.
I think so.
Right?
Maybe you need to dress them up in something.
Okay, so talk about the Wild West show. That one intrigues me to no end, Paul Lundgren.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a giant spectacle, and I mean, it's on a par with Barnum and Bailey, you know, just a giant display of historical reenactments and such, and, you know, how accurate they were, who knows, but they, you know, the showman definitely found a way to put on a show because it was a very popular attraction back then.
Well, it blows my mind that whether he was traveling around the country doing these shows or going to Europe, this was all done. I suppose maybe there was a telegraph back then, but primarily this was like telephones, and how they managed to get all of the minutia of these shows from one event to the other still kind of blows my mind. But they performed in Duluth, correct?
Yeah. Wow. You know, the connection to Duluth really begins with his little sister, who I don't know how she met Hugh Wetmore, but he was a newspaper publisher in Duluth. And he had a newspaper called the People's Press, which later changed its name to the Duluth Press. And so they got married, and she quickly got involved with that newspaper and got Buffalo Bill involved in that newspaper. And so they built a very nice office building in Lincoln Park, which is still there.
Yeah.
Recently remodeled by the Duluth Grill family of restaurants, took it over. And in the process of renovating it, found many old Duluth Press newspapers and other local newspapers, hidden in the walls and such. But so, yeah, the remnants of Buffalo Bill are largely through that connection with Helen, where he invested in the building, he invested in the paper, and then through that, we still have the Duluth Press building in town. We have Cody Street in West Duluth, which gets its name from Buffalo Bill. And we used to have the Cody Hotel, which was not something that Buffalo Bill created or invested in, but the owner of the hotel, in Buffalo Bill's honor, named it such. And that was where the parking lot is now for the Gopher restaurant.
Wow, when I was writing a song years ago, I was driving up to Duluth to play a show, and I always would have I still do, I keep my 8.5x11 yellow legal pad next to me. And I was writing this song, and it was called Party to a Crime, and I needed a name for the protagonist. And I came over the hill, and I always loved looking at the unsalted sea when you're going over the hill by Spirit Mountain there. And it said Cody Street. So I named the guy Cody. So, and then when I was reading this article that my buddy Tom Griffith sent me about Buffalo Bill that you wrote, Paul, I go, well, now that's that. I love it. It gives me a little more idea of some of the history and the great thing in the city by the Unsalted Sea. Tell us really quickly, we got a couple minutes left, about the new magazine, Unsalted, which is just a beautiful production.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's the first issue just came out a couple weeks ago, and it's a collaboration between the St. Louis County Depot, Perfect Duluth Day, and a graphic design firm called Graphic Science. And the concept basically is it's a 32-page magazine, and we're just telling stories of the region. Each issue is based on a theme, and the cover story on the first issue, the theme is remnants, and the cover story is about the Minnesota Point Lighthouse, which is Duluth's oldest piece of architecture.
And the photography is amazing.
Yes, it's the design of the magazine is really what sets it apart. I should bump back just a second. I called it Duluth. I think it may be Duluth's oldest piece of architecture, but what I meant to say is it's Duluth's oldest piece of existing architecture.
Right.
So, yeah, it's actually not. There would be shanties that people built before that.
I thought the oldest piece of living architecture was Eddie Gleason.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
From Carmody's Pub, where I'm playing tonight, by the way, from 6 to 8. Anyway, so, well, it's, and where do people go to the Depot to get the magazine?
Go to the Depot to pick up the magazine. It will be and is, I've been out of town, so I don't know exactly where it is yet, but it's available at some locations other than the Depot, but I don't know which ones at this moment.
And it has a great article on my friends Dennis and Pam Matson, who reopened the Arrowhead Bar, my old drinking spot on Chestnut Street in the Queen City of the Iron Range, Virginia, Minnesota. Paul, this has been lovely. People can just go to perfectduluthday.com or .org.
Perfectduluthday.com, and you can't actually read the magazine online, but there is a website, unsaltedmag.com. And if you go there, you can you won't have to write it down when I say it now, but hello@unsaltedmag.com is the email address. If you send them an email, they'll figure out how to get you a subscription.
Beautiful. It's a great book. Well, thank you for all your work. Bring out all this wonderful Tiltown history to light. And it's a pleasure getting to know you. And I want to have you on the show some more because there's so many stories here in the Zenith City by the Unsalted Sea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul Lundgren.
Appreciate it.
Now we're going to hear from people that keep the show on the air. And then we're going to hear from my buddy, rocker Adam Levy.
Rocky Wall Entertainment presents Music in the Park in Silver Bay at City Center Park. These concerts have been rated as one of the best summer events on the North Shore, and it's free. See acts like the Belfast Cowboys, Lolo's Ghost, Jeff Dayton Band, Eric Kiskinen Band, Turn, 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 and the Scarlet Goodbye. Perfect entertainment for the family. Join Rocky Wall Entertainment and Silver Bay for the free Music in the Park series of concerts every Friday starting July 17th at City Center Park next to City Hall. This is an all-weather event. In the case of inclement weather, the concerts will be moved indoors to the Reunion Hall. This is the 6th year of bringing the best of Americana music to the North Country. Arrive early and pick up some dinner and beverages for your own picnic dinner. For more information, visit RockyWallEntertainment.org or see Rocky Wall Entertainment on Facebook.
I'm Joe, and I had Z LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. The funny thing is I absolutely hated buying a contact solution because I thought it was such a racket having to spend $15 on a bottle of contact solution. And that's just one thing, is just not having to buy that stuff anymore, or glasses or anything like that. For me, it's mainly just I like to hunt and fish and everything, and not having to bring that stuff along, especially in the winter when I go ice fishing and stuff. It gets a pain when I get to the end of the day taking my contacts out, and then if a rattle reel goes off in the middle of the night, I'm fumbling for my glasses to go and try and catch a fish.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
You're invited to the Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, open for another season for all your candy pleasure. They're located on Scenic Highway 61, 10 miles north of Duluth in Knife River. They're third and fourth generation candy makers using traditional copper kettles to make their caramels, fudge brittles, and chocolate-dipped hot air. When you visit Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, be sure and try their famous nutty ice cream bar. Tell them you heard it on Stars Over the Prairie. Great Lakes Candy Kitchen, located just 10 miles north of Duluth in Knife River.
Twin Ports, Iron Range, and Northwest Wisconsin. This is Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa on KDAL.
Welcome back to Stars Over the Prairie. I want to remind you, if you got an event or a business, or you just want to support Stars Over the Prairie, we've got really reasonable advertising rates, and we have a very committed audience. We're the number one rated variety talk show in our time slot in the Twin Ports, and we are streamed in over 24 countries. You can get a hold of me personally at paul@paulmetsa.com. Support this great show. We'd like to thank our guest, Paul Lundgren, from Perfect Duluth Day on Salted Magazine, and the great stories of Buffalo Bill Cody. Next up, Adam Levy and Turn, Turn, Turn are in the middle of a 2-night stand-up in Silver Bay at the Music in the Park series. They're doing a fundraiser tonight. They house in this beautiful log cabin, and which, if you go to rockywallentertainment.org, you can find out if there's still tickets available. Adam's one of the coolest musicians I've met, a true artist, educator, and a real community guy. Here's our conversation with Adam Levy. As you know, there is nothing more I like than spreading the word of my friends and great fellow Minnesota musicians on this show. Tonight's guest, Mr. Adam Levy, is one of the most creative performing artists in the Twin Cities. Whether it's with his band, the Honey Dogs, who got started rocking in 1995, solo projects, or his new project, Turn, 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 everything Adam does is has the highest quality and artistic intentions. He's also a social worker and educator, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But he's got a show coming up. He just played last night in Silver Bay. He's playing again tonight. We're going to talk about that, see what else he's got coming up within the Twin Cities. We've known each other for years. We haven't spent enough time together, but we're going to spend the whole hour tonight. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend to the Wall of Power Radio Hour audience, Mr. Adam Levy. Adam, good evening, brother.
Good evening, Mr. Wall of Power. Thanks for having me.
How was your show in Silver Bay last night?
It was fun. Beautiful night, great folks. We have a substitute singer who did a remarkable job. Becky Capel was singing with us. She did great. It's always fun to be on stage with Joe Savage and my longtime bandmate Barb. Barb Brinstead and our drummer Josh. It's just good vibes up here, all good vibes. Just great being up in the North Shore.
I love Joe Savage. Tell us about the band, Turn, Turn, Turn. What was the genesis, and what sorts of music are you guys performing?
Well, we started as a 3-part harmony trio where we were just strumming acoustics and bass and just did favorite country rock, Laurel Canyon, 60s era, British folk, American folk, country, whatever we could do, and just did like a weekly gig for a little while doing covers, 3-part harmonies, which something I've always loved, but like the Honey Dogs were never like a 3-part harmony band.
Right.
Hard to get, us to do a lot of singing in that band. So I was excited about doing this with 2 women and having like 2 really beautiful voices and singing that way. We did that for a few months and all of a sudden hit on the idea of doing originals, which I had not intended this group to be. But we went in and made a record pretty quickly. We all had songs, and our first record went pretty quickly. Can't Go Back. And we tracked it literally in like about a week.
Nice.
And released that record during the pandemic, did some touring, released our second record a couple of years later, New Rays from an Old Sun, which is, I think, kind of felt like the band was kind of more together, more advanced sonically. And it's a very kind of psychedelic country rock record. Played more and more, toured, and we went to Spain a couple times. And then we made our last record, which is All Hat, No Cattle. All Cat, No Cattle, that's funny. But
it's not a bad name for a song either.
It's country, so it's a pretty country record. I think I was interested in exploring a more country sound, and especially what I consider kind of the golden era of country music, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So imitating some of the sonic stuff in my studio, and just getting the vocal and guitar sounds from that era. And, the girls, Barb and Savannah, contributed some great numbers to the record. And here we are. We just lost one of our members, Savannah, a longtime member. She was one of the founding members of the band, so it was really hard seeing her go. And we found a replacement whose name I will be announcing soon. We're really excited to have this new singer joining us. And for now, we've got a substitute kind of helping us get through summer. Becky Capella is an amazing songwriter.
Oh, Becky's great. She's been on the show. Yeah, love Becky. We've had her on the show a couple of times.
Nice. So yeah, that's kind of where we came from, and that's where we're at.
So the name Turn, Turn, Turn from a Pete Seeger song, later covered by the Byrds, I'm imagining.
Yeah. I was looking for something that kind of name checked the era, and that just seemed like a good song. It kind of evokes Laurel Canyon. But I also think the idea of like what we were about musically, we really love the old Smithsonian folk and country. So we turn back to that era of folk and country, and then we turn again to the 1960s when you had the renaissance of folk and country, and you turn back again to face the future and kind of put these things together in a way that to us feels unique.
Adam, when I first started listening to you and the Honey Dogs back in the mid-'90s, I always thought you always kind of reminded me of Elvis Costello, kind of your songs and your approach to songwriting. And now, over the years, I think you found that mysterious common ground somewhere between Elvis Costello, David Bowie, and Graham Parsons, which I think is a very sweet place to be.
Well, that's probably one of the highest compliments anyone's ever paid me. So I appreciate you noticing the evolution, because I think part of my whole thing of being a songwriter has always been changing and kind of exploring different styles and different sort of modes of expression. And sometimes, you hit the nail on the head, and other times you kind of stop at that little thing that you tried and move on to something else. I just never want to sit still and make the same record or write the same song again.
So when did the young Adam Levy pick up his first guitar?
Well, my brother and I played cardboard instruments for a couple of years.
Got to start somewhere.
Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and always wanted to play, like imagine myself as a fifth Beatle somehow.
Uh-huh.
In love with that music and just was committed to learning how to play guitar. And so I was about, I'd say 14 when I first started kind of being able to imitate things I was listening to. And by 15, I was, listening to Hendrix and playing along with him. And then I got into the whole new wave thing. So it's been a long journey.
Where are you guys, St. Louis Park boys, or where did you grow up?
We grew up in Highland Park.
Okay.
Pallister, Groveland area.
Oh, so you're you're the other side of the river.
Hey.
What I used to call the Berlin Wall, the Mississippi River, like the Berlin Wall. When I moved to town, like Minneapolis and St. Paul, they could have been hundreds of miles apart. But good for you guys for crossing over the river. Tell us about so your first gigs. And I can't say enough about your brother, Noah Levy.
Right.
I just saw Noah up here on drums a couple months ago with Eric Koskinen. And I used to hear Noah with Trailer Trash all the time. I never heard any of his stuff with the Brian Setzer Orchestra. I can't tell you how knocked out I was by listening and play in this small little acoustic quartet that Koskinen have, who's I'm also a huge fan of. So it's you and what's the age difference between you and Noah?
We're 8 years. We had a brother between us who lived in foster care, was developmentally disabled, Down syndrome. And when he was born, my parents were told by people up in Moorhead and Fargo, your son is never going to develop an institution. They'll care for him. He'll learn what he'll learn. He's never going to learn to read or write. He'll never be able to ride a bike. And so the bar was set really low for my brother. And unfortunately, he was out of the house for a lot of our younger developmental years. And we got really close just because even though we were so different in age, we listened to a lot of the same music. And by the time I was 16, Noah was playing a set of bongos like a monster, And when he got his first drum kit, he was learning Stray Cats. All he had was a snare and a hi-hat and kick. And so he learned how to play drums by playing the Stray Cats, ironically playing with Brian Setzer, 30 plus years later. I can't talk enough about Noah's playing. I mean, he is one of, I would say, you can say he's one of the best drummers in town. I would argue that my brother is one of the best drummers in the world, and he's gotten, he's played with a lot of different people and met a lot of different people. And stylistically, Noah is that awesome combination of like a Jim Keltner, Bernard Purdy, and John Bonham. Like he mixes the swampy, funky with just the hard hitting rock and roll thing.
Oh, I was thinking Jim Keltner all night long when I was listening to Noah and Eric. In fact, I'm honored your brother's going to be playing with the all-new Paul Metsa group August 22nd out at Moe's in Mounds View. And
the 22nd, I'll try to get out for that.
Oh, please do. Bring a guitar. Come and sit in.
Well, I just want to watch, man.
We're going to put you to work, Adam. So what was we just got a few minutes left in this segment. We're going to be listening to some Adam Levy music with the Honey Dogs and a new track by Turn. So what was the first time you got on stage in front of people?
First show was, I think, my junior high school talent show with my first band, which was called Orpheus. And we played Brown Sugar. God, what else did we play? I think we played like a Who song and a Kinks song. And the teachers on the talent show didn't believe we were actually playing. They thought we had a record player behind there. I'm sure it sounded terrible. They didn't think we were the ones making the noise on stage. But I think I was kind of flamboyant, and a lot of the kids looked at me oddly after that. But I never looked back. I kept playing and trying to get better.
And you have. We're going to listen to a great song that I just got turned on to last night. by the Honey Dogs, written by my friend Adam Levy, called Attic Brain. And then, all right, we're not going to listen to Attic Brain. If you want to hear more of that, we'll have it up on the podcast. In honor of the Blues Fest, the Bayfront Blues Fest that is going on 30-plus years, happening this week in Duluth at beautiful Bayfront Park. I'm going to play a blues song that I wrote and recorded with the legendary blues musician, songwriter, and real hipster Willie Murphy that I put on my first record, Paper Tigers. This goes out to all you bluesters out there visiting the Twin Ports this weekend. This is called Robots on Death Row.
You don't like my train, baby, don't have to drive my track. Tell your switchblade monkey he don't have to ride your back. Tell your half-moon waitress it's a high-wire show. You drop a lover just like dominoes. Your barbed wire blanket if they're ready to go. Just like a robot on death row. Just like a robot on death row. Shoot dog, train the doctors who put the bell on you. Airmen in helicopters, you said they fell on you. Your mechanical street queen, you can feel his whistle blow. Ain't no difference, mama, than your bugged in Romeo. You're the first to ask questions, but the last one to know. Just like a robot on death row. Just like a robot on death row. Your piano is poison, mama, mama, mama. They buried you with a sill. You lick your lips for no reason. My broke down with a will. My cast-iron princess is now turpentine. I want to ask you about those exploding valentines. You sit in the corner, doggies are wild in Mexico. Just like a robot on death row. Just like a robot on death row. Throw rocks in the river, 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 gonna run you down. You're an Indian giver, my, 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 my. You live at the lost and found. I can tell by your shoes that you walk on the water. It ain't no news at all that you led the lambs to the slaughter. Will you be saved by the soldiers that know? Just like a robot on death row. Just like a robot on death row.
Thanks for listening to Stars Over the Prairie. We want to thank our guest, Adam Levy. Go see him tonight if you can get tickets. RockyWallEntertainment.org and his band Turn. We want to thank Paul Lundgren. If you want to support the show, get a hold of me. We want to keep this great music, these great musicians, authors, poets, and more on the air. Just go hold me at paul@paulmetsa.com and I'll send you the deal. I'm at Carmony's Irish Pub tonight from 6 to 8. Rockin' No Cover 308 East Superior Street. We'll see you next week. And in the meantime, like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy.
Tonight, and I wish I could see stars over the prairie.